So Mexico Beach received $100 million or so after Hurricane Michael and FEMA money. And there are lots of questions surrounding where the money went. And there's a new mayor now. Michelle Miller defeated Al Cathey in April. There are only about 1,000 voters or so in Mexico Beach. Small town, big FEMA money, right? The place was leveled. It was one of the worst things that's ever happened to an American city. The most powerful hurricane in 50 years to hit the United States. The small city deserves to be rebuilt properly, honestly. But I suspect there are lots of problems with where the money has been going. The city administrator has had full access to the checkbooks, to all the finances. It used to be Mario Gisbert, 2020 and 2021, for 2 years after he left Panama City Beach, which was subpoenaed by the FBI for public corruption. And he was mentioned in the subpoena. Mexico Beach said, that ain't no kind of problem. Al Cathey said, come on, Mario. You're just the guy. Then Mario resigned in 2021, and they bring in Doug Baber. And now that there is a new mayor who ran on the platform of transparency, and there's been some criticism of Doug Baber. There is a mandate by the voters for change and transparency. They want to know where the money went. They want to know why some things haven't been done in nearly 5 years, like the pier, like stormwater mitigation, real stormwater mitigation. They've got some parking issues on Highway 98. They've got some golf cart issues. They've got wetlands that are being impacted by developers. Big stuff going on. But there are 3 councilmen. Councilman Jerry Smith, bad liability Jerry Smith. You've got Adrian Welly, who's the smartest guy in the world. He used to be just ask him. He used to be the city clerk. He says he knows all about the finances. That's the first guy I would be asking questions to. And then you've got Richard Wolf, who's been there a year. He's the vice mayor. He's the one who was shocked to find out that the media could just walk in here and record meetings. All right. So you know that. There was a city council meeting Tuesday night. And I showed you that last year, the city attorney, Clint McCahill, and the city administrator, Doug Baber, who about a week and a half ago surprised everybody and announced his resignation. But he also, and there haven't been too many questions about this, he also said he had already gotten a job. He's already secured another job, a city manager job down, I think, in South Florida. But when did he secure the job? It takes a while, don't you think, to go through the interview process and to actually secure a job. But you've got the new mayor's haters pretending that the city administrator, Doug Baber, has to leave Mexico Beach because she's a bully and I'm a bully. That's why Doug Baber had to go. That's why he chose to leave. As though he hadn't been working on this for a long time. They've put off the audit, the annual audit. It is officially late after tomorrow, but it's late now. You've got a coordinated group of people doing the bidding of the establishment there who do not want the finances to be open and transparent. Let's see the checks. Let's see the check register. They don't want it. So they come up with these narratives. I've seen this. I've been I've been focused on local government since 2015. Panama City Beach, Panama City, Lynn Haven, the county commission, Mexico Beach, and they all implore the same propaganda techniques to try to protect and cover up what they don't want people to see. And some of those techniques are coordinated narratives. So the coordinated narrative against the mayor right now is you are a tyrant, you're power hungry, you're just trying to control everything. This is a power grab, and you're usurping the authority of the council of the city's government. That's the first one. The second one is you have run off because of you've created bad morale and a hostile environment. This is the second one. All of the employees want to quit because of you, and two of the most skilled employees have already quit, the accountant and Doug Baber. Well, as Doug Baber has been working on that for a while. And they came up with this narrative that a phone call she made to the phone call the auditor made, the mayor made to the accountant software company that the city is contracted with, caused a conflict, and that caused the accountant to be fired or be taken out. I mean, it's unbelievable the gaslighting that goes on at these meetings. I'm going to show you some of this tonight. Wait till you see former mayor who got beat in April. He's back there like he's going to straighten things out. You're going to see it. He wanted to come back and bring some clarity because the video that surfaced of the meeting last year, basically, Al Cathey is going to come in this video you're going to see 2 nights ago and do his best J.R. Ewing impersonation. Who remembers J.R. Ewing from the TV show Dallas in the early 80s? Remember that? I mean, who are you going to believe? Me or your lying eyes? It's unbelievable. So you're going to see what he said last year. You're going to see what he said 2 nights ago. On top of all that, you've got the city attorney, Clint McCahill, who is saying something entirely different now than he did last year. You've got the city administrator, Doug Baber, saying something entirely different now than he did last year. Both of these guys went to the state attorney's office. They testified against Michelle Miller, the new mayor. Last year, they said that she committed a sunshine law violation while she was on the planning board, along with a few others. And for the first time in Bay County history that I know of, she was actually prosecuted for it. They knew she was probably going to run for mayor, and they had to take her out. And so they prosecuted her. Larry Bassford, the state attorney. Now, of course, like most of these political persecutions, it was dropped by the prosecutors after they tormented the poor lady and the others on no information. And state charges, an indictment is the federal version of information. If you're charged on information. That's like an indictment. Oh, geez, we don't have enough information to convict the prosecutor. But now that we know State Attorney Larry Bassford is eager to prosecute people for sunshine law violations, well, we got a few for him to look at. So they tried to take her out, but she's sitting there, and this is not Michelle Miller, the new mayor, is not an experienced public figure. She's a regular person. Well, she does have a PhD in or a doctorate in nursing. So she teaches nursing. So she's not uneducated. She is educated, but she's still learning about government. And the voters in Mexico Beach said, look, we are all experienced out around here. We just want some transparency. And we want a little honesty. We want to know what's going on behind the curtain. So she won. And now she's trying to get her sea legs in a room full of hyenas biting at her. And if I'll tell you this about Mayor Miller, who's only been there for a couple of months, if she does not learn to stop the crosstalk during the meetings, she's not going to last. In other words, the meeting is run by Robert's Rules of Orders. She's the presiding officer of the meeting. Nobody, including her, is allowed to talk during the meeting unless they have obtained the floor. So when she recognizes one of the council members and they have the floor, they have the floor. You can't interrupt him. And likewise, you can't interrupt her. But what happens is one of them they've got these coordinated attacks. Like one of them was, have you ever taken a call from Bernie Thompson? You're going to see it tonight. She should never answer questions like that. This would have been my answer. Absolutely. And I'll tell you who else I'm going to be calling. Every member of the media. I'm going to be calling everybody. That would be my answer. But she's still a little scared. She's still a little shell-shocked. I mean, these are the people, remember, these are the people who tried to put her in jail. She's not quite exactly probably sure what the hell's legal and what's not legal. But these guys, it looks to me, have some coordinated, like this is, like if she talks to, do you know how many elected officials and public officials I talk to? But if you ask most of them, they'll say, nope, never have. But it's all right, because I believe that the Bay County Sheriff's Office and the State Attorney's Office already know. I got a feeling they got my phone records. But that's just a feeling based on information and belief. So don't be afraid of questions like that. Don't answer questions like that. Because when she answers that question, then another hyena bites her from the other side. And then all the hyenas are biting at her and she's on her heels. Mayor Miller, if you're watching, don't answer these questions like that. You've got the floor right now. Point of order, you've got the floor. And go ahead and make all of your comments. And then I'll make sure nobody interrupts you. I want to give you all your time because you're an elected official. And when it's Councilman Jerry Smith's turn, same thing. He'll get the same respect. But we're not going to crosstalk. This is not a poker game where a lady made her way to the table. What kind of poker game is that? This is, if she doesn't get that in order, she's not going to make it. You can only speak if you have the floor. Enforce that rule. And that's not being a bully. That's ensuring that the meeting is facilitated in an orderly manner. The people deserve that. And likewise, when the people have the floor, when they're making public comments, they should not be interrupted for their 3 minutes. They've got the floor. So anyway, you're going to see some unbelievable video tonight. And ask yourself, as you're watching this, ask yourself, does it look like they're trying to hide something? And are they saying this year something about the mayor's authority, duties, and obligations as set forth in the charter different than they said last year when Al Cathey was the mayor? Remember, he got beat. The voters, only about 1,000 of them in Mexico Beach, I believe, or at least voted. I don't even think that many voted. Something like 700 people voted or something in Mexico Beach in April. It doesn't take a lot to win. I mean, you can literally knock on every door in like a week. I mean, I'm only joking. Who saw the TV show Arthur? Do you remember the TV show Arthur, like 1981? And one of my favorite scenes was when he was in the restaurant and he was drunk, remember? And he had the hooker with him and he bumped into his old relatives and he was trying to pretend she wasn't a hooker, that she was the princess of a little tiny place. And he kept talking about how small it is. He said you could carpet the entire place from border to border for like, I don't remember what he said, but he said you can drive from what, and he kept going on about how small the place was. And he was drunk and he was embarrassing his old relatives, and they kept saying, we understand it's small, Arthur. This is a small place. You can canvass all the voters in like on a Tuesday. We understand it's small, Bernie. Move along. Sorry. But I probably saw that show was on loop when it first came out on cable, and I was a kid and I'd stay up late and watch it when I wasn't supposed to. Can we get on with this? There's $100 million you keep talking about in FEMA money. All right. When we get back, I'm going to show you Al Cathey, the former mayor's comments at the city council meeting just 2 nights ago. Don't let back pain and neck pain get you down. Find relief at Brown Chiropractic Center on St. Andrews Boulevard in Panama City. Dr. Sherry Brown helps people heal naturally with chiropractic adjustments and deep tissue massage. Call 769-3777. It's a hot time in Florida, and my friend Ryan can make sure your air conditioning is running at peak efficiency. He could even install a new one, built to a higher standard, American standard. Find out more at PCAirrepair.com. Okay, so before we watch Al Cathey go up there 2 nights ago, let's remember when he was the mayor and he recommended that the council and the mayor get a raise last year. And they all voted to get a raise. And the mayor makes more than the other council members. The mayor makes I think it's $1,100 a month, and the other council members make $700 a month. And the reason for that is because the mayor is the CEO and the CFO of the city. That's why the mayor makes more money. The mayor has more responsibilities, more duties, more obligations, more authority. The mayor can do certain things that the council members can't do as the CFO and CEO, according to the charter and according to the city's 2015 extensive legal opinion that they keep acting like doesn't say what it says. Gaslighting. Take a look at Mayor Al Cathey last year, and the guy on the left closest to us is the same city attorney, Clint McCahill, and across from him is the same city administrator, Doug Baber. They know the truth. Here he is.
Purpose for me being here tonight is to.
You know what? This is his meeting. This is him last night. Actually, this is not the one I want to share with you first, because it's important that you see what he said last year. Forgive me. Here it comes. All right. This is last year.
The charter of this city recognizes the type of government we have. We are a mayor-council form of government. We are not a manager-council form of government. Now, I know that we have issued ordinances or passed ordinances that give responsibility and authority to an administrator. But if you read the charter, it is the mayor is the CEO, mayor is the CFO of the city.
That was Mayor Al Cathey. And it's pretty remarkable the difference between last year and this year. I think you've been in office nearly 2 months now, Mayor, and as the CFO, the charter calls you the CFO. The former mayor said he was the CFO. And the city attorney, Clint McCahill, acted on that because in that meeting, it was about a raise.
Back in 2005, the rationale was for in the mayor's seat that because of the responsibilities delegated by the charter, and I took the oath of office to run for mayor, be involved in the mayor, and I hold that responsibility. I make that part of what I do. So that's why there was a discrepancy in the council mayor compensation. That's what started that whole thing, was the following what the charter says the responsibilities of the mayor is.
And City Attorney McCahill, you actually wrote an ordinance You were here, and so were you, Mr. Baker, and so were you, Mr. Smith. All right. So you saw what he said, right? He was pretty clear. The mayor's the CEO, the CFO. That's why the mayor makes more money. That was last year. And the city attorney knows this because he wrote the ordinance that he came back with at the next meeting that gave him all the raise. That's why the mayor makes more money. But this was mayor, the former mayor who lost in April. He's been the mayor for a couple decades in Mexico Beach. And this is him just 2 nights ago at the city council meeting after that video was played at the meeting and on my show, and he wants to clarify what he meant by the mayor being the CFO and the CEO and the charter. So here's his clarification now that she's the mayor. All right, Al Cathey, citizen Al Cathey. Let's hear it.
Sort of clarify what was shown at the meeting, the last meeting, in terms of validating what this council and this administration and this mayor is claiming to be the powers of the mayor. It is clear that the operational position of the mayor is not listed in the charter. What is clearly listed in the charter is all powers, not some powers, all powers are given to the city council. The governing body of this city is the city council. Clear, undisputed. What is being claimed is not something I ever practiced. It's not something that is archived in the city hall. It's being an operational officer of this city because, and why? Surely someone would ask, in the transition of power, when elected officials come and go, why is there not a clear path by which that is done? What you are exhibiting in terms of leadership is embarrassing. There is no mayor, there is no council member that has the power to declare themselves an operational officer of this city. The sentence in the charter that says the mayor is a chief elected administrative and physical officer of the city with no defined powers. Why is that? This charter is 6 decades old. Don't you think someone somewhere would have defined what that is? How did they define it? They wrote it down through an ordinance. An ordinance is recognized by the charter as the governing method by which laws are written and powers are transferred. Very simple. A mayor doesn't change it, an attorney doesn't change it, you change it. If you don't like it, alter it. Any claim by any elected official that they are the governing operational officer is simply renegade. It's unfounded. It has no merit. It's not archived in our city anywhere. There's no precedent for that. So I urge you as a council member, let your voice be heard. Let your vote be counted. You, by the charter, are the governing body of this city, period. All powers are vested to you. In closing, I want to let you know, I see that you have adopted or chosen to adopt a charter review committee. I might suggest if you practice respect for those of you that occupy the governing powers of our city, would go a lot further than trying to find some words that don't exist in the charter.
All right, there you have it. That's Al Cathey. So is he right? Does the charter say that all powers belong to the council? Full stop. All right. Yeah, there's something in there about CFO, CEO stuff, but it's not spelled out. And this year now, it doesn't say what it says, and it doesn't lay it out. But let me tell you how tricky these guys think they are. That it's about the lowest IQ group I've ever seen in one room, to be honest with you. Stick around, you'll see how I come to that conclusion. But let's see what the city's own legal opinion says about the charter Are you ready? Now, it is a mayor-council form of government. The mayor has powers beyond those of another individual council member. And it should not be interpreted, formal creation of a city administrator in 2005 by ordinance, which is under the charter, should not be interpreted to have established a council mayor form of government by removing the mayor's powers and granting them to the city administrator. Now, the charter itself, I don't know if I have the charter. Does it say it on here? No. It might say it in one of these. This is the legal opinion. Yeah, good. It does. Okay, look at the bottom paragraph. Here's what the charter actually says. Section 2.07. This is what Al Cathey was referring to. The powers and duties of the mayor, boy, this is not the part I was hoping to share with you, but we'll read it anyway. The powers and duties of the mayor shall be such as conferred upon him by state laws. That's the top one. The charter, that's the second hierarchy in the hierarchy, and by the city council, third in the hierarchy. But what the charter says is that the city shall confer all powers to the city council. But that's only half the sentence. You should search for it. It's easy to find. If you search Mexico Beach city government, click the link, and then actually type in Mexico Beach charter, and you'll find your way to the charter. Section 2.0. I think it's section 2.07. But in this, he's only reading half the sentence. This is the same trick that the attorney played, because then it says, comma, all powers are given to the council. All powers, comma, except those listed in the charter. And those listed in the charter are, she's the chief elected administrative and fiscal officer of the city. Now, here's the second trick they play. Remember, Mexico Beach was created by charter as a city in 1967. According to the city's 2015 legal opinion, it was adopted again in 1985. So there's a 1985 charter that's currently the charter they use. Although the city's attorney in 2015 could find no evidence of it being adopted in 1985, but he said, we'll take their word for it. So it was adopted in 1985. And then it was amended again a couple of times. There were small amendments a couple of times. One of those, not one of those. Aside from the city charter, in 2005, the city formally created the city administrator position and said that he has, that he basically is going to run the city, day-to-day operations, oversee the finances, all that. But that doesn't take away the fact that that the mayor, Al Cathey or Michelle Miller, is the supervisor of the assistant. The city administrator is the day-to-day manager, the administrator who answers to the CFO CEO. The CFO CEO works with the council. That's the way the charter laid it out. Don't blame me. Don't look at me. They all know this. Their own legal opinion says so. They acted on it last year, but now they want to gaslight you, and there are a bunch of J.R. Ewings up there. So, but this is really no joke, though. Councilman Jerry Smith, bad liability, Jerry Smith up there, he said a month ago, look, the way it's set up now, if something goes wrong, it's on Doug. the city administrator. It's not our fault. It's Doug's the fall guy. That's what they say. And then they say, Doug, he's got to answer to us. No, that ordinance did not turn it into a council mayor form of manager council form of government. No, it didn't. Your own legal opinion says so. And that's the way you've acted and operated customarily for a long time. All right, but let's take a look at some of the things that old Al Cathey's saying now as he came to clarify. He said that the operational position of the mayor is not clear. The mayor's the CFO, CEO, you said so yourself. That does not mean that the mayor does the day-to-day operation, actual work like a manager. Doesn't mean that. That's what they're conflating. Look, Mayor, you're not the one that comes in here and runs everything. Of course not. But she's the supervisor of that position. He was the supervisor of that position. Even if they didn't operate that way, which appears they did, even if they haven't been operating that way, that's the way that the charter has set it up. They know this, but they're trying to be slick. See, they conflate things. They mix things together. They think we're amateurs here. But that's not at all what the argument is. It's not the argument. The argument is the city administrator answers to the CFO CEO. Otherwise, if the city administrator answered to the full council, if 3 council members disagreed with the CFO CEO, then the CFO CEO is not the decision maker on matters of fiscal issues as laid out by the charter. It's so simple. By the way, that line of reasoning all falls under a legal doctrine known as the rules of statutory construction. Okay. Now, Clint McCahill knows this. I already told you that Al Cathey left out the second half of the sentence. All powers belong to the council, except those laid out by the charter. He said it's undisputed. Well, wrong, Al Cathey. I call him Al now because he got beat. He's not the mayor anymore. The voters wanted somebody else. They wanted transparency. They wanted the city to run the way it's supposed to be run. They want to know where the money went. So it is disputed. That's the reason when you came back as mayor in 2015 that Harrison Sale McCloy, the law firm, wrote the 5-page extensive legal opinion, which was accurate, saying that you were the boss. And you loved it in 2015, boy. Al said, ha! See, Harrison Sale McCloy said, I'm the boss again. Let's get a raise. You know that. So it has been disputed, and it was settled by the city's own legal opinion in 2015. He said it's not something he ever practiced. Well, we saw that that's not true just from the video last year. I don't want to, I really, oh, and he also said, if you don't like it, you can change it. No, you can. How does this guy say stuff like this? He was the mayor for 2 decades. How is it that Al Cathey could sit up there? He's incapable of being embarrassed, evidently, because no, the council cannot change the charter. Now, the council has adopted a charter review committee that will recommend changes to the charter. And if 3 of the council members vote to put it on the ballot, the voters will decide. The voters decide, Al, not them. All right, let's move on. There were some public comments, and I'm not going to show the public comments out of respect for citizens and residents who have every right to go up there and express their opinion, whether I agree or not. I want to show respect to the residents and the people, although they go up there and they look back at me and they go, I don't want to be the next victim. Okay. But I do want to share some of the things that a few of the residents of Mexico Beach said. They said that these are the things that they were saying. The mayor is creating a hostile environment. It's affecting employees. In fact, a couple have already left because of you, Mayor. And you stop council members from talking, and you stop employees from talking during the meetings, and you let non-citizens talk. That was what they said. Let's break this down. During the meeting, the only person who is authorized to speak according to Robert's Rules of Orders, which is in the charter to run the city meetings, is the person who has the floor. So the presiding officer, the mayor, is supposed to shut people up when somebody else has the floor. That's the way it works. They also are pretending that the mayor has berated, criticized employees, all the employees, and it's just an absolute fabrication. They made it up. They throw this straw man out there like, look, that's the problem. She's never done that. At most, she's been critical of the city manager, city administrator, and the city attorney, who both testified against her last year, trying to put her in jail for a sunshine law violation that was dropped by the state attorney's office. At the most, the citizens voted for a new mayor because they want things different. That's called a mandate. That's what the voters want. And as long as she's operating by charter, she has some discretion. Some things are going to be a little different. There's a new mayor in town. So that answers that question. Oh, let me clarify a little bit more. It's almost like they have a few people are sharing certain narratives, right? Like the mayor's created a hostile place. All the employees are quitting because of her. Like these are all made up things. And non-citizens aren't supposed to talk at these meetings at all, like me. So I hope that there are people in Mexico Beach watching so that I can help you understand this. And I'm not being condescending. I actually study this stuff. Like if you're a car mechanic, I'm not going to go look over your shoulder and say, hey, this is how you do it. I've studied this stuff. All right. I have a bachelor's degree in political science. I have a master's degree in journalism. I've been doing this as my craft for 15 years. And specifically with cities since 2015. And I've been involved in 3 lawsuits about city government. So I mean it when I tell you what I'm going to tell you now is factual information. It's not a criticism of you. When you say non-citizens shouldn't be able to talk, and they have asked the council, you'll see it in a minute, the council and some critical members of the community are telling the mayor to shut up non-citizens. What they mean is, the word you're looking for is resident. Okay, non-residents. I'm a citizen. I'm a citizen of Florida. I'm a citizen of these United States. And so are you. The word you're searching for is resident, okay? But the way it works in government meetings, protected by the First Amendment of the Constitution, is that all citizens, and even non-citizens, by the way, have the guarantee, governments can't stop them from going up and expressing their points of view. Now, I'm giving you more information here. Now, governments, local governments, can restrict comments according to case law. And there are 3 areas that they can restrict. They can restrict time, place, and manner of the comments, but only if the reason for the restriction is neutral and not because of an opinion that they don't like. Okay, that's the law So by time, some city councils give 4 minutes to speak. Some give 3. Some don't have any time limit. It's up to the local government. Also, when they talk about time, at what point in the meeting? Some have the comments in the beginning, some have the comments in the end. Time. Place. When you have the floor, when you're recognized and you obtain the floor as a citizen, non-citizen, or resident, you can be mad at me if you want to, but I'm really trying to help you understand this. The next area that the city can restrict is place. So if you obtain the floor, the rules are you stand there at the podium and address the council, or the mayor, okay? I can't walk around and talk. I can't pace like an attorney talking to a jury. I can't pace. I'd love to. Oh, man. So place is also a restriction that is permitted. Manner. Now, this is an interesting one because you've got residents and council members and the city attorney, even Clint McCahill, who say, and old Jerry Smith again, Jerry Smith, bad liability. Jerry Smith said, I don't like the way you talk down. All right, don't be talking down around here in our town. Well, and then you got the other vice mayor, Wolf over there, Richard Wolf, who's surprised as all get out that the press could even be in there filming in the first place. What the press can just come in here and film? And then you got Jerry Smith saying, did we give him permission? Is he allowed? Yes, it's the First Amendment that you took an oath to. And if you served in uniform, Marine, I expect you to take the oath seriously. And I would love to talk with you before or after the meeting, any day of the week. We can talk one-on-one and get to know each other. You might find that we have a lot in common. But I expect you to honor your oath, every one of you. So, as public figures, city administrators, city attorneys, and council members, and talk show hosts, we've got to endure a lot of stuff. People can talk bad about us. People can lie about us. We're public figures. They can slander us. Yeah. If you don't believe me, try to sue. If you're a public figure, sue somebody for slander. See how that goes for you. Now, if you're an ordinary person, not a public figure, it's a lot easier to win a defamation lawsuit because the standard is lower. But if you thrust yourself, Jerry Smith said, ain't nobody thrusting in here. There's ladies around. There's women in here. Don't be thrust. No, Jerry, what I'm talking about, if you thrust yourself into the position, that's what it says in case law. If you thrust yourself. If you thrust yourself into this position, you're a public figure and you've got to take it. Now, there's a line. And you'll notice that I comport myself differently on the show than I do at a meeting. I'm a former Air Force captain. I believe in comporting yourself to the occasion, right? I go in there, I try to look fairly professional. If it's not too damn hot, I try to wear a sports coat. I address you as Mr. Mayor, Mr. Council, City Attorney. I may be tough on you and challenge you, but I don't call you names. I don't talk about your family. So you have to endure that as a public figure, as do I. Even if and they were really upset, social media has been rough on us. People coming up here talking down. Yeah, it's going to get worse before it gets better, I'm afraid. But That's the First Amendment, man. You guys have to endure scrutiny. And quite frankly, this scrutiny is fair. One member of the community said she was really upset because this affects their families. It hurts their children. Stop it already. Stop it already. If you're a city administrator, a talk show host, if you're a mayor, you just got to endure the criticism. Even if your family doesn't like it, it's just part of the territory. Stop already. No, they attack my family, but I've never, ever, ever, once, ever. And I get tips all the time about where they are and what they're doing around here, but never do I talk about personal stuff. I might talk about your business if your business is getting money from the city. I might do that if there's a link, and that's happened in the past. But one of the things they try to do to stop legitimate criticism, and even criticism if it's not true, somebody goes up there and says something not true, you still got to endure it. One of the things they try to do is they say they're personal attacks. They always use the same techniques. It's unbelievable. You're attacking my fans, personal attack. No, you might take them personally, but these are public criticisms of you in your public capacity. Deal with it. Okay? What are the other thing? Oh, unproven allegations. Unproven allegations that there's money laundering, that there is illegal spending. I don't know if I haven't made an allegation, but I suspect there's some stuff going on in there that's not legal. And I suspect that's why all this histrionics is going on around here. Why all the drama and the plays and the narratives and the gaslighting. I suspect there's something going on. There's certainly smoke. And I'm looking to see if there's fire. And so are others, by the way. So are others. So unproven allegations. One of the council members, Adrian Welly, and you'll hear it, he said, look, I'm for a forensic audit at this point. Good. Now we're talking. So let's do that. But a few others said, if it is shown that there was illegal spending here, I'll be the first one to jump up and want to prosecute the people who hurt my city. Well, in order to prove these things, you got to open up the books. You got to open up the check register. You got to show who got the money. Right? There's no evidence of it. Well, there won't be if nobody can get to it. And it may be, as Adrian Welly, the councilman, said, that when you look there, you're going to be bored because it's not that exciting and it's all good. Some internal controls, yeah. But, these are, as Adrian Welly said, reminds me so much of Jeff McConnell. Misinformation and conspiracy theories, he says. All right. Well, let's all take a look. Let's just dispel all these misinformations and conspiracies. All right. I think that's enough of that. Let's get to I'm going to save what they did for its own show. 176 residents signed a petition, by the way, that night, saying they don't want the wetlands impacted, to build 38 single-family homes on about 10 acres, half of which is wetlands. 176 signatures on a petition in a place where there's only 1,000 voters. That's nearly 20%. And Adrian Welly and Richard Wolf and Jerry Smith, who all said we need to listen to the people, ignored the people and voted for it anyway. Nearly 20%. 176 people is almost 20% of 1,000 voters. I'm not saying everybody who signed the petition's a voter, but that's a lot of people. And you'll hear Adrian Welly talking about, we got to listen to the people. You didn't listen to anybody except the developer. All right. Let's take a look at what, oh boy. All right, I got to pull this up. I'm going to pull up Adrian Welly's. The end of the meeting was fireworks. And I'm going to show that to you in a moment. I've got to pull it up. And while I'm doing that, let me thank a couple other sponsors. This will only take a moment for me to pull it up, and you're not going to want to miss it because it is amazing. And I'll show that to you right after.
Have you received a speeding ticket for which you want no points placed onto your driving record? I'm El Saulene, 850-215-0628. Let me help you.
All right, so one more sponsor, and I'll have this pulled up, and you're not going to want to miss it.
You want to look good? You want to feel good? Little John's Big and Tall is where it's at. Right across the street from Sky's Pizza Pie, 5700 North Davis Highway. You can find out more online at littlejohnsbigandtall.com. He's also a member of the iTex trading community, where your iTex dollars are welcome.
All right, we're just about there. You're going to see the end of this meeting was kind of weird, to be honest with you. 4340 mark. All right, here we go. I'm going to bring you to it right here. I know. Not real smooth on the technical stuff today, but that's the best I can do. All right, here we go.
What is your wife's name, sir?
Jessica Swindown.
All right.
She's the head of the turtle patrol.
All right. Miss Lynn, do you have anything to close us out with? Good night, everyone. Mr. Smith, do you have anything you want to say?
You waking me up?
Mr. Wells?
He's funny.
Unfortunately, yes, and
Okay.
it's a bit windy, so bear with me. A lot of it's already been.
So these are the council comments, and listen to Adrian Welly here. He used to be the clerk. He knows all about the finances. But listen, he's saying exactly what the narrative is. Remember, the mayor is on a power grab. She's running off. It's unbelievable. She's running off all the employees, distracting us from the real business, not stopping Bernie Thompson and others from misinformation and conspiracy theories. Watch, listen.
Covered early on. I missed last meeting. This is part of me moving forward. This is what I need to do. So I'll read fast. I spent the past few weeks reflecting and wondering how we got here. I often find myself wishing we could go back to the first 2 to 3 weeks following Hurricane Michael. This community banded together to do everything to recover with one common goal: survival. Differences were put aside. Everyone got along and had one common purpose: do what needs to be done to move forward. This seems to have been forgotten. I served as a city clerk from 2013 until 9 months after the hurricane, when I had to resign due to a blood infection that almost killed me. After having 2 heart valves replaced, my health returned, and I decided to run for city council to continue to serve our community. In the last few weeks, myself and several of my colleagues have been falsely accused of a lot of things, including roadblocking and contributing to an alleged financial crisis. Neither of these are true. Fair, consistent, and knowledgeable. Those 3 things are what I based my campaign on last year when I was running for election. I wish I would have included a 4th word: integrity. Anyone that knows me, any of the staff in this room that has worked with me, and any of my current office coworkers will tell you my integrity is not for sale. This board needs to get back to leading. We are failing those that elected us. There is a falsehood I keep reading that $100 million of FEMA money has been given to Mexico Beach. The current number is actually around 111 million. $111 million of reconciled invoices by the outside consulting firm.
I just want to say I'm so used to this personality type. It's so Jeff McConnell. It's so there have been a few people like, actually, it's misinformation. Thompson keeps saying for the last 6 weeks. Thompson keeps saying $100 million is FEMA money came in here. He's wrong. It's 111 million. In 6 weeks, this is the first time that any of them have acknowledged it. Oh, the passive aggressive snarkiness is hilarious to me.
Firms of ACDC and Atkins that have been submitted to FEMA for reimbursement after being paid for by the city. FEMA just doesn't write checks. It is a reimbursement process. Several contracted consultants review and submit these invoices, which proves that the invoices were paid first by the city. The city cash flowed the reimbursement process of FEMA without a loan. There have been accusations of financial mismanagement or financial crisis. The most recent audits from several of our neighboring communities all have findings regarding internal controls. It's hard to avoid the finding of internal.
Okay, just remember, internal controls on a financial audit's a big deal. 2020 and 2021 in Mexico Beach said internal controls are a problem. But he wants you to know that lots of cities have this problem. All right, internal controls is a common problem. And we fixed that by hiring an accounting firm. The minimizing of internal controls is incredible.
Controls in communities with such a small staff. We were able to correct these findings by hiring an outside accounting firm in addition to our auditor to separate these duties. That contract was only in place for a few years. Financial crisis sounds like we're on the brink of bankruptcy or need to take out loans for the city to survive and pay its bills. When I
again, you see the shifting there. This is the transferring to a different issue. The fiscal crisis facing Mexico Beach is that your audit for this year is delayed. Your accountant quit, and you guys are lying about why she quit. Your city administrator's out of here. You don't, even with them, you admit that you don't have enough staff. Look, the city administrator, Doug Baber, in 2011, quit his position as with another city, Hallandale Beach, in 2011. The guy on the bottom right, the city administrator, in 2011 left Hallandale Beach. The city sued him because he owed him money. He filed bankruptcy, and his attorney said he discharged up to $1 million of personal debt when he got sued by the city. And you guys are trusting the reports that he gives you and acting like those are fail-proof. Are you out of your mind? His father-in-law was the city manager of Hallandale Beach. He got fired because the city mismanaged more than $2 million of CRA funds. And the inspector general said that one of the biggest problems Hallandale Beach had was this is amazing, was that they didn't have enough staff members to ensure that there weren't these kind of financial problems. And you've got Adrian Welly here acting like internal controls are cool in the gang because it happens to a lot of cities and we're just understaffed. But there's no financial crisis. The audit's late. People are jumping ship because the finances, the contracts, and the checkbooks are all about to open up. But he's shifting it, pretending the argument is about something else. I know these sneaky tricks. I taught persuasive writing in college. I taught logical fallacies. I've been watching jokers in public office for a long time. And there's only a few that they recycle, and this is one of them.
I left the city, we had a reserve balance of $1,102,927. I don't even need to read it. I said it for meetings for 8 years, or 6 years. That balance remained the same during my time as city clerk. The reserve balance today is $1,475,832, likely the highest ever in the history of Mexico Beach. This is not a financial crisis. I will, however, support a forensic audit of the city's financials to stop the baseless accusations, despite the fact that we are in the best financial position I believe the city has ever seen. I'm going on record here tonight with the offer to train my colleagues on how to use the Springbrook software and answer any questions. This would be done in a public forum open to all.
All right. Now, credit where credit's due. Uh-oh, I got a comment up here. This Adrian Welly deserves credit for. Remember, he knows more than anybody. Just ask him. And he was the clerk for a long time. He's been in the city for 10 years or so. And this is a good thing. He is offering in a public forum to show them how to navigate the software program so that they can take a look at all of the financial information. This Adrian Welly deserves credit for, as well as his support for a forensic audit.
All residents to be in compliance with the Sunshine Law, as I feel I have something to offer to teach you how to use it. No one, including myself and the other council members, were intentionally blocking any of the mayor's access to anything. Contracts are not housed in Springbrook. The city clerk has the contracts. They are accessible to anyone who requests them via a public records request. The administrator received a request for Springbrook access from the mayor, something that no council member or mayor has ever had before. Because the administrator reports to the council, he asked the council to approve the request. I would have done the very same thing.
And you would have been wrong, because the city administrator, even though the ordinance might say reports to the council, that would supersede the charter, and it ought to be challenged in court. I've already explained that. But when a mayor or any council member, quite frankly, any one of them, ask their assistant, the city administrator is not a manager of the city, he's an assistant, he better hand it over quick, especially if he's the only guy with all the key to all the finances. The guy I just described to you, the guy who had been working for probably months or several weeks, securing another job and being at these meetings, in my opinion, acting in bad faith. I'll be honest with you. In my opinion, I think city administrator Doug Baber is an insider threat. You better get more eyeballs on all this stuff, because he's packing the boxes, the suitcases, and he's out of here.
Because it is a policy change and something that has never happened before. During the next council meeting on that May 9th, Administrator Baber presented the request for access. The council voted to approve and provide Springbrook access to the entire council as long as it was accessed at City Hall to prevent accidental security breaches. This process took about 10 days. At the May 23rd meeting, accusations from the public regarding roadblocks by the three men and the administrator were mentioned. 2 days later, I went into City Hall. I finally logged in to check the software myself. A few things were indeed not accessible, and I immediately informed city staff they were missing. This was corrected that same day.
Interesting. So Adrian Welly, for the last 6 weeks, the guy who knows more than anybody, just ask him. He's been saying that everybody has access. Doug Baber has been saying everybody has access. He just doesn't have time to train them, he said. And now we find out that actually the other day he went in there and a lot of things were not accessible, but somehow the councilman has the ability to snap his fingers and get them fixed the same day. Now, he's going to say that he noticed that Michelle Miller had already been in there looking at stuff. That will come up again. All right. I'm not going to address that now, but that'll come up again later on.
Some parts of Springbrook remain blocked, including access to employee social security numbers. This is one of the major employee concerns I have heard. I requested to know when members ran reports to see that we did indeed have access, and the very first report was ran by the mayor on June 2nd. It was not roadblocked. We don't need to like each other, but we need to respect each other's opinions and positions. It is every one of our duties to call out false accusations and misinformation and support each other with facts and truth. I spent some time researching the meaning of chief executive or financial officer. Though mentioned in the charter, it does not provide.
Hold on, I want to address this. This is a really important point. Did you hear him just say that it's all of our job to prevent misinformation and conspiracy theories? Look, anytime somebody starts talking like that, this is kind of a new thing, actually. Anyone who says that it's our job to combat misinformation and conspiracy theories, they are essentially claiming to be infallible. They are claiming to be all-knowing. 6 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, last week, Adrian Welly's been saying everybody had access to everything. And today he goes, oops. Tuesday, oops, I saw that. So that was misinformation, my man. That was misinformation. Anytime people start talking like that, they are claiming to be infallible and all-knowing. And they do it for a couple of reasons. Usually it's to hide stuff. In some cases, it's just arrogance on steroids, I guess. But you'll never hear me. I'm not going to say, oh, wait, I got to correct misinformation. No, because you know what? Damn, you might be right. Show us. You might be right. I've done shows where I'm wrong. Somebody else was right. Guess what I did? I cut them off. No, I didn't do that. I adopted their position because, damn, I don't want to keep being wrong. I didn't say misinformation. You're hurting my family, attacking me. Those are techniques.
Provide any clarification as to what the position means or authority it conveys. One person's definition of these positions will surely be different than the next. Short of a job description, I looked at the corporate role and thought, what does the CEO and CFO do? Who do they report to? A quick Google search shows that these positions report to the board of directors that are elected by the shareholders, and sometimes the CEO actually serves as the president and chairperson of the board. They have as much or as little authority as given to them by the board. So it makes sense that yes, the mayor is the CEO and CFO, and the council is the board of directors, elected by you, residents, the shareholders. The CEO implements the will of the board.
By the way, he's right about this, right? He's right about this. There are slightly different forms of CFO, board member, stakeholders. In this case, it would be stakeholders, different forms. But all of them are governed by a charter or a constitution. Charters and constitutions are short by nature, on purpose. Let me show you. This is, goodness. This is the Constitution of the United States of America. It's 33 pages. That's this small. Constitutions are supposed to be short. They're supposed to be the skeleton, essentially. There is another document known as bylaws. The bylaws talk about how to execute the Constitution, the supreme law, the charter. In the government world, since we're teaching here, Adrian, in the government world, the bylaws are known as resolutions. Help me out, Miss Sarah Moon. What did Nick himself call them? Was it Nick or was it the other one from Harrison Selma Cloyd? Expressions of the charter. That's right. A resolution is like a bylaw. That is where a governing board we'll get more specific about how to execute the charter, the Constitution. Okay. Well, let's go on. Let's listen to Adrian here.
The CEO in our case, the mayor, does not have power over the board. In fact, it is the opposite. The mayor is a member of this board, responsible for implementing the will of the board. This is the very role of the mayor, the ceremonial part of the board ensuring implementation of the board's direction, nothing more. There is no blanket authority beyond the governing board. I have consistently argued for a charter revision and the need to clarify vagueness and contradictions in our city charter. We need to clarify and incorporate the ordinances passed over the last 56 years into our charter revision so there cannot be any misinterpretation. I have witnessed charter revision discussions with the previous two mayors and continue to support this revision today. As a candidate in a forum hosted by Lisa Logan and the Beachcomber last year, I brought up the need for a charter revision. My opinion on the charter has not changed. I remain consistent on the need of a charter revision. Another reason for consistency is to maintain good staff morale. The morale of our staff is probably the lowest I've seen in 10 years I've been here. With an office right next to the Mexico Beach market where many of our staff get lunch, I have numerous visits every single day from our employees voicing concerns
Every single day
or stress they have working for our city in its current environment. If this destructive behavior from all of us elected leaders does not change, our city is on the brink of a mass exodus of staff. The institutional knowledge and the cost of recruiting and hiring staff to replace those that will leave will definitely have an impact on our future success. We must step up and defend our staff. As leaders at this table, it is our responsibility to take the heat for our staff. They follow and enforce the very policies we as a board implement. It's time for us to get to work on the issues that matter.
Hold on. Do you see what he's doing? He's implying that Mayor Miller, the new mayor, has been berating all of the staff and creating a hostile environment. That's their new straw man that they erected. One member of the community got up there in public comments and he said, "This is crazy. What are you talking about? Like, you guys is making stuff up now."
Matters to the majority of our residents. Let's get to work doing the jobs we are elected to do. Let's discuss what's important to the citizens. They care about things like a pier, a municipal complex, a grocery store, parking on Highway 98, golf carts, RVs, safety of residents and tourists crossing our busy streets. Why aren't we working on?
Why is that still a problem? Oh my gosh. It's been almost 5 years since the hurricane, and y'all don't have a pier yet? You've been prioritizing, I believe, the developers and the consultants, and maybe more. See, they're so they think they're slick.
Stormwater. Let's work on the enforcement of our tree ordinance. We require trees for a CO, but haven't gone back to enforce that they be put back on existing houses after the storm. Surely more trees will help us with stormwater issues. We are at a critical point of our rebuild and growth. In the next 5 years, we need to focus on infrastructure and planning to avoid long-term preventable negative impacts to our future stability. I ask my colleagues at this table to not make unsubstantiated accusations, correct the residents that are spreading mistruths and conspiracies, and please, let's focus on leading, moving the city forward, and doing the very job we've been elected to do. Thank you.
Amen.
Mr. Wolf.
Yeah, amen +2. I think Rock uses that on most social media when he likes something.
All right, so what you're going to see here is really weird. Really weird. They act like, they always do this to her. Here's where she loses control. And if she does not run the meetings properly, she's going to get run out of here. Here's where they turn into hyenas and start biting at her from every angle. And she makes the mistake of answering them rather than saying, "Excuse me, point of order. You don't have the floor right now." When she says closing comments, do you have a comment? It's that person has the floor, nobody else, no crosstalk. So here's where they start to act as though this is great. I got to talk to you about this. This is where I think she's still scared from when the two guys in the front, the city attorney, the city administrator, when they testified against her and Larry Bassford threatened to put her in jail until they dismissed it for sunshine violations last year when she was on the planning board. I think she doesn't quite know what she's allowed to do, what she's not allowed to do yet. So they all set her up. A bunch of hyenas here. And they say things like, have you ever taken a call from Bernie Thompson? That probably scares her. Hell yes. I talked to a lot of public officials. If I was her, I would have said, oh my God. I would have said, not only do I talk to him, but I'm fixing to talk to all the media. But instead, she gets very scared and defensive and lets everybody crosstalk her. Mayor Miller better learn how to preside over the meetings. Mayor Miller better learn to say, point of order, the floor is Vice Mayor Wolf's right now. You're going to get your turn, and nobody's going to interrupt you either. But to let these hyenas bite at you and scare you with silly questions like, do you ever talk to me? And then, you're going to love this. Those of you who know me, you're going to love this. They accuse her of bringing me to the meetings. Like you brought him in here, and now look what's happening. And she denies it. She gets all scared. Raise your hand if you think anybody tells me where to go or what to do, except for Sarah Moon. But raise your hand if you think any elected official or public official tells me what meeting to go to, tells me what I should say. Do I strike you as that kind of guy? In 2014, when Talk Radio 101 had the #1 talk show, not only in this area, but often across the state. And they said, Bernie, you're not allowed to say this, or you got to say this. I said, go take a flying leap. And they said, well, you go elsewhere. And I did. Oh, gosh. Yes, I talked to Michelle Miller. I tried to talk to Adrian Welly. I just tonight said I want to talk to Richard Wolf. I called Doug Baber. I'm going to get to the bottom of this. You don't have to be afraid of that, Mayor Miller. And you certainly don't need to answer these biting hyenas who think they got you on something. That's no kind of problem. You got to handle the meetings or they're going to run you out of there, I'm telling you, because this is all coordinated. They know when you called me, I think, because I think they've got our phone records. All right.
So I'll go with the +2. But what I did hear from Mr. Welly was baseless acquisitions. It's pretty sad. I mean, the stuff that's being put on social media, stuff that's being publicized about your council people. I think we need to ask for some evidence, some facts, something, or not.
Think about that. You've got the vice mayor who didn't know the press was allowed to record saying that when people make critical statements on Facebook, social media, that we need to ask them for evidence. It doesn't work like that, Maureen. It doesn't work like that. You're the public servant. We're asking you for evidence. You've got to provide it. We're allowed to be wrong, the people. Hell, you're allowed to be wrong. You got to be accountable to voters. But I got a long history here. And what I would say is this. Vice Mayor Wolf, Councilman Welly, I invite you, and Bill Husfeld's done it, and I treat him with great respect, the superintendent of schools and others. I invite you on the show. Go look at my interviews. And let's talk to each other. You're allowed to talk to me. It's not a violation of sunshine law. Don't talk about how you plan to vote and then talk to your other council members. But I'll help you. I'll keep you in line. I will make an assertion and I'll give you the evidence. You can make an assertion, give me the evidence. We'll be respectful of each other. If you think that that's the relationship you want to have, especially Adrian Welly, because God, could you imagine? He would get half the screen. I'd get half the screen. I'll give him more time to talk than I do. And Adrian Welly can show everybody how smart he is. And he can just set me straight. So Vice Mayor Wolf, and especially, I would invite Jerry Smith, but I don't think he knows how to do the split screen on the computer. Listen, I mean it now. You have an invitation for a respectful interview where we drill down on the questions and assertions that we're making. All right? You have every opportunity to set the record straight. But instead, they're gonna start nipping at her, biting at her from every angle, and she's gonna get scared.
Not do it.
Only thing I can speak to there is I don't go on social media anymore, so I have no idea what's going on social media.
Why are you doing this?
So
Why are
I
you
think
answering
that
them?
You're exactly right. We need to work as a team. I think I brought that to the table in the mayor's comments in the past, and I
Stop
think,
being defensive.
I really feel like we were moving forward to doing that. If we could just focus on what's important here, and that is what's best for our city and what the citizens have voted for us to do. So.
And if we decided on a fiscal audit, how far would we go back with the costs? What would the cost be?
No idea on cost right now.
So I actually met with a CPA who reached out to me after our last meeting, and they were offering services to help us get caught up on our audit, get it prepared and get it in there. I was gonna bring that to the table in the future because Mr. Wolf had asked for it as well. But you know, that might be something we want to consider of going on and hiring a firm. We could put it out as an emergency situation because our charter and ordinance doesn't allow for us to hire like that without one RFP, excuse me, for
That's a bid.
urgent or emergent situations like that. So they did offer, said that they could set limits as far as letting us, like, if we said, okay, well, when you get to pushing, you know, getting our books ready and getting it to the auditors, and we got to $5,000, just a round number, then we could let y'all know, hey, we're at this amount. This is where we're at. Do you want us to keep going? And by then they would know approximately what that would cost us. That was just a discussion, but we can bring it back to the table if y'all want to.
I think money, the budget, I mean, I think that them firms, and we've done this 2 times, I've been sitting here, it costs. That's nothing like what we pay it now. And we already have an audit firm out, don't we have an audit firm out of town?
See, this meeting is out of order. She does not understand how to preside over a meeting. Each of them will get a chance for their council comments. You don't just keep going back and forth. This is not a poker game. And it's going to get real bad here. Real bad.
Yeah, but, yeah. So we're behind, well, the biggest thing right now,
We're
Mr.
behind
Smith,
1
is
year.
we're behind
1 year.
on our audits, and we're already, this one is really behind already.
We're not late till Friday.
Yeah, we're late after Friday, for sure.
But we just hired this lady. And
And, well, I don't know how much she's gonna, how quickly she's.
Why
gonna
are you guys
caught up
doing
with
this?
Our audits ready. It's an offer, it's a suggestion. We can call it an urgent situation or emergent situation to get our finances. And I have never said, I don't know about our finances other than what we get in our reports. So
Mayor, why are you being so defensive? Give each council member the floor. Protect their time. You don't have to be so defensive. and answer these guys. And they're going to look, hyenas know when something is wounded. Watch them start nipping at her.
You know, our only crisis, and I think that was what I was gearing toward when I said that there was crisis, is that we were losing Debbie. And, you know, at a crucial time when our audits needed to be done. They had already been scheduled. Apparently everything was going through it. And suddenly, one day, it just stops. Just because I make one request on that same day, it stops. So I don't think that my request is uncommon for somebody that needs to look at, you know, see where we're at. But then I've been crucified for it at this table.
Oh my God. Do you see what she just did? She just opened up a can of worms. Mayor Miller, if you keep doing this, I'm gonna make a statement to Mayor Miller if she watches these things. Either you run the meeting in terms of people only speak when they obtain the floor. No crosstalk. Or else honestly, I'm going to recommend you resign. And here's what I mean by that. I'm serious about this. Because you have a mandate by the voters, but you also have a responsibility to run the meeting without all this crosstalk, without bringing up how your feelings are hurt, that people talked ugly to you at the table. You just opened up a can of worms by saying that, because now they're going to want to answer that. You've been crucified. What do you mean you've been crucified? You can't do that. The reason I say run the meetings and assert your authority, which I hope you do, because you're as brave and tough and tenacious and determined as any elected official I've seen. But you're the CFO. And when the feds come in and the sheriff's office public trust unit comes in, they already know about the $100 million in FEMA money, where it went. They already know about the bids. They already know who signed the checks and all the games going on. They already know. What they're hoping to do is to keep you there long enough that you're the fall guy. That you're the fall gal. And if you want to know what that feels like, call the only other lady mayor. Well, there's been a couple others. But call the greatest lady mayor in Bay County, Margo Anderson, and see what they did to her. The sheriff's office, the FBI, they all know who really took the money and ran. But they've got protection. If you're going to stay there for any length of time, you better assert your authority, because you're the CFO. It's not a game. It's not an argument. It's not a debate. It's you. Assert your authority. And only have people talk on the floor when they have the floor. And don't say things like, I've been crucified up here. This is not time. I want you to be the mayor. I want you to run the meetings, because you got your hands full. You've got a bunch of hyenas up here trying to hide stuff. You've got investigators that know about this, but for some reason have been protecting a lot of people. And I can already see what they're doing to you. You will be in a mess if they continue to slowly wrap the noose around your neck while they're distracting you with a bunch of stupid stuff like you ran off our employees and whatever, calm down, little lady kind of stuff. Either assert your authority as the CFO, run the meetings so that there's not all this kind of stuff, or honestly, for your own good. Say, I didn't realize that it was this dangerous here. I didn't realize that the CFO was not. I say challenge it. I say have a judge decide all this. I want you to stay. I want you to do it. But if you do it like this, hear me. Hear me. For your own good. Fix this stuff at these meetings. Do not let them put you on your heels. Run the meeting. Only the person who talks has the floor. Has the floor talks. Assert your authority, or they will string you up. They will commit false witness against you. And you'll end up a hell of a lot worse than Mayor Margo Anderson.
You've been crucified for.
I've been talked ugly too. I've been
Some
called
people get
names.
crucified on Facebook and on
Yeah.
radio shows and everything.
And, you know, I'm saying, I have no control over that either. I sit here at this table today, I had no control of, I didn't know these people. Now, I know
Stop
Mr.
being
Wall,
defensive.
but that was just as a friend.
You've never taken a call from Bernie at all? Talked to him?
I did. After the meeting, he called me and he introduced himself and
Appreciate
we
your honesty.
talked to him. Yes, yes, sir. I sure did. But prior to him walking in that door, no, sir.
Why would you entertain?
I don't-
That's a
I-
whole new subject.
Yeah, let's move on.
I'm sorry.
Let's
I
not get off
I have no
Right.
control over people that come to this podium or in this room. And I think that,
Don't let them
You won't
scare
take a
you.
call from me, but you took a call from him.
well, sir, I asked you if you would like to meet with me.
Did you hear that? The vice mayor is now acting like they're married. Richard Wolf says, oh my God, you better get control of these meetings. You're allowed to talk to me. You're allowed to take these calls. You're allowed to talk to all the press, and you should talk to all the press. You took a call from him, but you won't take a call from me? Councilman Wolf, you're not married. She's lost all control. They're all conspiring. They all think they got her. She's scared. They all think they got her. I wouldn't tell them when you talk to the press. I mean, I would actually. I actually would. I'd say, look, I'm talking to everybody all the time. But don't give them ammo like this. I mean, they always make her feel like something's wrong or illegal. Like when they tried to blame her for calling the mayor a month ago, called the accounting firm. The accountant resigned because of the controversy, and they tried to blame her, said it was a conflict of interest. She called the accounting firm back, no conflict of interest. Your phone call didn't run her off. These guys run her off. You can talk to me anytime, and so can they. Don't be afraid of these guys. And Vice Mayor Wolf, you're not married. Oh my God.
Me with people in the room because I don't want to deal with the sunshine.
I don't wanna go there, Mayor, I'm just saying, we
I
need
don't
to get,
wanna
we need to
argue.
get it together, I
We
agree
do.
with
I
Mr. Wells.
absolutely do, and that's, you know,
And I'm
what I
willing to do
said.
that.
well, I am willing to do that too. Let's put this in the past, let's move forward, let's work as a team. Again, I said that the second meeting.
So
And
can
there was
we
a battle.
adjourn this meeting?
No,
Because
hold on. Reminder to everybody, tomorrow is the turtle thing at Driftwood. Talk about turtles, right? Isn't that tomorrow?
Turtles and birds.
Turtles and birds. And if anybody on camera saw me laughing, my wife walked in the back door of this meeting about an hour ago with dinner because
Yeah,
we're worried about her. So I was laughing because I look at her handling my food. So that's why.
So enough for all of us?
So I would like to tell y'all, I apologize if y'all felt like I was bringing somebody in here or accusing it has never come out of my mouth, and I swear as God is my witness, never come out of my mouth that anybody has done anything wrong. I would like to move to adjourn. Would anybody like to second that?
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
Would you have a second motion? We are adjourned. Thank you. Y'all have a nice evening.
All right. All right. All right. That's it. Long show. I told you it was crazy. Boy, they're worried in Mexico Beach, and the hyenas are nipping at everything. We got her. She talked to Bernie, took a call from Bernie. When did she take it? When did she take it? Unbelievable. You know, there's you want to talk about taking calls. You want to talk about the city administrator talking to one council member and then another council member and another council member acting as an intermediary, which is an actual sunshine law violation. Maybe State Attorney Larry Bassford could get on that. They know about this stuff. It's a dangerous, dangerous position you're in, Mayor Miller. You've got to run the meetings. It's easy. It's easy, really, in the sense that the only person who can talk is the person who has the floor. That's all. And don't feel like you have to answer their stupid made up stuff. But that's a lot to ask, especially when you're shell shocked from a sunshine law prosecution that was dismissed. It's scary. It's scary. I'm a little more familiar with how city government works, and it takes a long time to learn it. And learning it in the hot seat can be dangerous when you're around people that might have something to hide and have a network of schemers. One thing that schemers do is scheme. Gaslight and hide stuff. All right, hey, I want to thank the Unknown Patriot for your support, so that I can continue to pursue the truth the best I can, and go to the meetings when I'm told to get brought in by local politicians. All right, with that, I'm going to wrap it up, and boy, I'll see you soon.